Welcome back to Cheddar, everyone. Co-working spaces are experiencing huge growth across the globe, with entrepreneurs choosing to grow new businesses in shared spaces. And joining us now with more is CEO and co-founder of luxury co-working spaces company, The Yard, Morris Levy. Morris, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We were on the 23rd Street Partnership panel. We're both 23rd Street Flatiron people. Me through our studio, you through your location. I didn't pick up that you were a luxury co-working space. That's not how you market it, is it?
Yes, you know, The Yard is an option for businesses that really want to focus on what they do in an upscale environment where they're proud to have their customers and their partners come meet with them with a little bit less of the fraternity edge.
Okay, so what do you mean by that? We're showing some of these images here, and I'd assume this probably is your space. It looks nice.
That's
now, what do you mean?
Space at Columbus Circle.
Okay, so talk to us in light of everything that's going on with Uber right now here, not necessarily specifically about Uber, but what do you mean taking out the fraternity edge, without the fraternity edge?
We don't serve beer on tap. We try to make sure that our events are not held in the middle of the day so that people are not disturbed. Our offices are also enclosed where you can't see the person next to you, but we still have beautiful light-filled spaces where light can come through the windows, and our spaces have high ceilings, focus art. The art's always revolving and changing, and we have a partnership with West Elm where we were able to decorate our spaces with their product and really turn it up to another level.
What's going to make this different from during the dot-com bubble when all these shared workspaces got hit so hard that this tends, the last time around this was dot-com companies with venture capital that were taking desks, and then the minute the venture capital dried up, this stuff went off a cliff. Is it different this time?
I believe so. We're only about 25 to 30% tech. There are a lot of companies today that are utilizing our spaces because there's really no reason to sign a long-term lease today.
Yes.
Okay, so what is the average price then for someone who wants space in New York City?
It's going to differ by location. If you want to be on Fifth Avenue, obviously it's going to be a little bit more expensive than Brooklyn. The average price is anywhere from $600 to $700 a desk, depending on the size of the office. We have offices for single, all the way up to teams of 30 and 45.
Co-working spaces expected here. We have some data to nearly triple by 2020. John had spoken to you about, how does this differ than times that we've seen in the past? So what is it specifically about these environments that makes them so attractive, I guess, to young entrepreneurs? Is it because they don't want to have to be tied to some sort of lease themselves?
That's, I think, one of the most important reasons. Another thing is we're working all the time. With our phones, with our computers, we're working everywhere all the time. People want to be in an environment where they could be with other people, where they can be inspired by their surroundings and by other companies that are also blazing a trail.
Okay, so in terms of the companies that are there, you said only about a third or so, it sounds like tech, and some of the other ones, what are the other up-and-coming, I guess, companies that really want to capture some of the space?
The companies that are at each location are really a show of what's in that neighborhood. So on 32nd Street and 6th, we'll have a little bit more of a garment feel. In the Flatiron area where we have two locations, we'll have a lot more marketing and design. Whereas on the Upper West Side, there are many more financial institutions that take space with us. So it really differs by location and what's happening in that immediate vacation.
What's your take on WeWork?
WeWork is doing unbelievable work in our industry, and they're turning a lot of people on to the fact that co-working is a viable option and that there's no reason to take space for a long-term lease. And what we see, we have about, I would say, probably 40% of our members actually come from a WeWork, where they go there and they
graduate.
They graduate. They see that co-working is for them, but maybe it could be turned up a notch.
Yeah,
and that's why they come to us.
I think that, yes, when you lose someone that you want to WeWork, you got to feel a little competitive and bummed. But mostly, it's like being in the hamburger business, right? Like, if people aren't going to McDonald's, it's really kind of hard to do Shake Shack, right? Like, there has to be...
They're either eating hamburgers or
they're not. There has to be... You have to have a giant player in the space, otherwise there's not even a space. And it seems to me that on the margin you may lose a deal or two, but they're fundamentally good for them. You want them to go public and you want them to thrive, because then you can be the boutique. It's like if people didn't go to hotels. It's like when Ian Schrager was running a boutique, nothing was better for him than Marriott thriving.
So one of the things that's very important is the community mix. And if someone belongs at another co-working space, they don't belong at the Yard, then that affects the mix. And it's not always better just to be at 100% and not have the right tenant mix. It's very important to have a membership community that's that's thriving and that gets along, and one member could really upset the apple cart. So if they'll be happy somewhere else, that's fine. And that's why we do so well, because they're coming to us for the things that we do best.
Very quickly, before we move on here, are there rules that you put in place, and how much does your company focus on making rules so that it is a inclusive environment, one where there aren't some of the issues that we've seen at some of these other large tech companies recently?
So we don't, the rules are like kindergarten rules. You be nice to everyone, everyone's nice to you. We really don't try to bog people down with the rules. It's a very free environment. People are there to enjoy themselves and focus on their business, and that's really why we're there. So we don't bog them down with the rules.
Our next segment is called What Keeps You Going, brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts, where we feature the habits of fast-paced, high-energy individuals, and you strike me as such. How many locations do you have in the city?
We have 9 open right now.
Okay, so
another
here's the
5 on the
question.
way.
You're running around to these locations. What keeps you going? How do you stay focused? How do you communicate when you're running to 9 locations?
Well, obviously the phone is something that I'm attached to, which I'm not crazy about, but I do it, and it's a great tool. I start my day with a bulletproof coffee, and it's got clarified butter and MCT coconut oil.
What?
Well,
What's
is this
going
the
on?
bulletproof?
Yes.
Yeah.
But you put butter in your coffee?
And you blend it up, and that's breakfast, and it's a high-fat, high-energy. It keeps you going.
I'm very
till about-
skeptical of this butter in the...
I'll bring you one next
only
time.
Actually,
have
and
it
you
for
know what?
6
I'm going to ask.
nothing for 6
I'm going to ask
hours.
Hoffman over at Dunkin'. I'm going to send him this clip afterwards. The president of Dunkin'. I'm going to ask him about this butter.
It's an unbelievable.
Dunkin'
And
but
coconut
Dunkin'
oil.
has
It's
butter
clarified butter, so there's no dairy.
Or I'll ask him if he's where he is on this butter coffee thing. All
Anyway,
right.
it's a tremendous
do
energy
you find a time of day that's most productive for you?
I'm a morning person. I start my day really early. I have 6 children. My house at 6 a.m. is absolutely buzzing. And after I walk my dog and I make my coffee, I'm out of there, and I get to the office really early, and I'm able to really focus on the emails and get that out of the way. And then I like to visit locations and be with my members and see what's going on in different industries.
Okay, so busy time, especially in the morning. What is the tech that you use that keeps you organized throughout the day?
I live by my calendar. The calendar.
Where's the calendar stored? On your phone?
Absolutely, yeah,
Okay.
my phone. I can't be tethered to my desk. I don't like to carry around the computer. So I really have a busy schedule, and I put things in there like call my grandfather and say good morning.
Yes.
Just because I don't want.
I will do a little plug for our friends at HP though, is that you could if you had this, you could run around with your computer. What inspires you every day, despite your busy schedule?
Really, my children. My children are always learning, and I love to always be learning. They're a great source of inspiration for me. They really are. Yeah.
And you're
I
not
have an
even-
unbelievable wife.
And you're not a hedge fund manager.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I have an unbelievable wife at home. She's my inspiration. She's 50% of it, if not more.
All right.
Pleasure having you.
Duncan,
Thank you
what
so
keeps
much.
you
What
going?
keeps you
Thank you for joining us.
Morris Levy, CEO and co-founder of The Yard. Coming up,